And there's different, like in the coal, there's different levels of this, there's different levels of coal that have, you know, some are more environmentally degrading than others. And now I think we're turning to the lesser coal. We're running out of all the
softer coal, for example, are more polluting than some of the other type of coals. Yes. And with coal, there's usually, depending where it comes from, a higher concentration of sulfur in the coal. Then there's a whole range of heavy metals, and some of them include mercury, for example, arsenic. Coal and petroleum is really like a chemical factory. There's a lot of chemical stuff in either the oil or the coal.
Just getting pumped into the atmosphere.
And when we burn it, these are released into the atmosphere or into the water.
You know, Australia has a whole fleet of public buses, and if they're all run on solar and electric, they have this, and the buses are free for people because there's no huge cost involved in, you know, fueling them.
Yes.
You know, so it's being done there, and then they've got these trains that run on the magnets rather than any kind of extractable resource. It's magnetic, and they go like 200 or 300 miles an hour in some places. So it's being done elsewhere. It's just a matter of getting our infrastructure, you know, brought up to par with the new technology.
And there's a whole range of transportation technology that are coming on stream, and more will be. But you use the word infrastructure, which is very, very correct. So while we can have and we will be having more and more efficient cars, we can be developing cars which uses other form of energy, electric, for example, the hybrid, the fuel cells, the hydrogen, which are all much cleaner than the current internal combustion engine, which has been with us for over 100 years.
Right, exactly. Now. It's the same engine.
The same engine. Very little improvement. They
haven't changed it.
Very little improvement. So that's very important, the vehicle itself. But also what is important is that when and where we use the car, and this is where land use planning, for example, is very, very important. In many major cities, and particularly, well, in both developed and developing countries, but more so in the developing countries, because the growth and use of automobile and urbanization is a relatively more recent phenomena. So it is not uncommon in these major cities, which can have a few million people and growing, and so the number of cars, is that a family of four, a husband and a wife, and a young son and a daughter, they have to leave their home very, very early in the morning in the crack of dawn, because the son would go to school in the eastern part of the city, and the daughter will go to school in the western part of the city. The wife works in the north, and then one guy, and he's in the south. So they're going all over the city. You know, it takes about 2.5 hours to deposit everybody. And in the evening, they do this all again. That's a tremendous waste of time, valuable time, and also energy. So with a better, more improved land use planning, zoning, etc., and urban development.
And they can do it because they're starting from the ground up. So.
And it increases and improves the quality of life. Instead of spending 2 hours in the morning and afternoon driving all around, you could saving 3 to 4 hours at home doing many other things, you know, and saving energy and not polluting so much. So there's a whole variety of ways we should be planning, undertaking to make transportation much more, quote, sustainable. Absolutely. You mentioned how much energy is accounted for by transportation, and you're right. But another major use of energy is in our homes.
particularly Americans' homes.
Americans' home.
Yeah.
Almost, in many countries, the homes are never built to be energy efficient for some reason. So
Cost and probably lack of information on the end of the homeowners. And
in those days, when the energy was relatively inexpensive, so there's a lot of things we touched upon this last time. A lot of things we can be doing in our homes, how to reduce energy consumption.
Absolutely, and everyone doing it can help out. I know that everyone doing it, everyone matters. And I just want to get talking a little bit about the environmental musical that, now this was sponsored by Dr. Mary Pearl over at Stony Brook, Southampton, but you were the organizer of the event. You actually got Japan Classic Live for the UN to bring their musical, Our Blue Planet, Will It Survive Till Tomorrow, to our university, to Stony Brook in Southampton. Yes. And they've only had like 2 or 3 appearances in the United States.
Yes.
So we are lucky enough to have seen it, all of us, and you 2 young ladies were actually in the musical, which is why you're here to discuss it with us today. Yeah. And we have a bunch of clips, but I just wanted to talk to the viewers about, what the, would you like to go into the message and the history of the troupe?
Yes, this particular organization in Japan, which is a non-profit organization, but very well supported by the general public, by the government, by the private sector, they have been performing in musicals for over 20-odd years. And many of the performers, volunteers, they are students, public, general public, but they also have a number of very, very gifted and high-profile musicians. So it's a very good mix. But about 10 years ago, they decided to use the power of songs, music, dances to convey important environmental messages. So for 10 years they have been performing environmental musical. Right. And every 2-3 years they pick on a special theme. About 4 years ago it was about forests, the importance of forests, biodiversity, how forests have an important role in the recycling of elements in our hydro system and our soil, etc. Then about a few years ago they move on to another theme, and the musical which they performed,